back to my channel. Today I have a special video for you guys. I have
Storytime with Sophia,
9 Minute Meg,
Repulsive Refreshments with Maria,
DIY Diva.
Okay, let's get onto the video. Ready, go that way.
Hey guys, welcome to Storytime with Sophia. So today I'm going to be talking about the novel The Memory Keeper's Daughter. So this story starts off in March of 1964 in Lexington, Kentucky, where the happily married couple David and Nora Henry are living. So Nora is pregnant and a blizzard hits, and this couple, they can be called the archetypal couple because they've been in love and they're in their first house and they're awaiting their firstborn son, kind of a stereotypical family. They're awaiting their firstborn son, and suddenly Nora goes into labor. And David, her husband, is a doctor, so he delivers the baby boy. So Nora was only expecting one kid, so she went back to sleep after her labor, and Paul, her son, was born. However, when she was asleep, she gave birth to another baby girl. Yeah, she had twins, and she didn't know it. But something was off with this one. She had Down syndrome, and back in the 60s, it wasn't very common to keep children with Down syndrome, and the historical lens can be fitted into this scenario because if it weren't for this time period where Down syndrome babies weren't kept, then maybe the author would have said that they had kept the baby girl. But because of this point in time where Down syndrome babies weren't kept, then Phoebe, their daughter, was given away. So, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So, Nora had no idea that she'd given birth to this baby girl. So, David decided that he was going to give the baby away. But why not keep it? Well, when he was younger, he had a little sister who also had Down syndrome, and she died really young. So, he wanted to protect his wife's emotions by just giving away the baby instead of having to deal with her death. So that's exactly what he did. This is Caroline Gill, the nurse who was helping David in giving birth to their son in the delivery room. So David gave the baby to Caroline to take away to an institution somewhere where they could care for her. But that's not what Caroline did. So when Nora woke up from her sleep, David told her that her baby had died, and she was heartbroken. However, she didn't die, and she wasn't taken to an institution. So where'd she go? Well, she decided to take Phoebe, the Down syndrome baby, under her own care and raise her as her own kid. And the feminist lens can be applied here, as Caroline received instructions to take the baby away from a man she's been in love with forever. But instead of giving the baby away, she thought that she was strong enough to take the baby as her own and to raise it. So that's what she did. And that went against what David had wanted. So a couple years go on, and Caroline, the nurse, tells David, our doctor, that she kept the baby. And David didn't react that much, but he decided to send her money so that he could be involved in Phoebe's life so that she wouldn't have to take care of the baby on her own. So because of this big secret, David still hadn't told Nora, so it drove a wall between their family. And because of this wall in their family, Paul and Nora didn't feel loved, so they both took up different hobbies. Paul's hobby was guitar and music, and he poured his soul into that. Nora's hobby, however, was sleeping around with other men and getting that attention from other men and that she didn't get from her husband. So this is all happening and their family's falling apart. Well, over here we have Caroline, our nurse, who took Phoebe, and she married this trucker named Al, and they fell in love, and they're raising Phoebe as her own. So one day, while David, our doctor and husband, is visiting his old house that he used to live in, he stumbles across this teenager named Rosemary. Rosemary is pregnant, and she's been secretly living in David's house where no one else is. But when David goes inside, he finds her there, and he tells her that he's going to take her in and that he's going to take care of her and the baby. So he takes Rosemary into his house, and he finally has someone he can tell his secret to. So he starts confiding in her and telling her all his secrets, and he starts getting closer to her, and this makes Nora feel unloved and unwanted. So eventually, they get divorced. Years go on, and they're still divorced, and David still hasn't told Nora that she has a kid, and he dies and takes his secret with him. So, meanwhile, while that's happening in their family, again, over here we have this happy family, and Phoebe has found a boyfriend named Robert who also has Down syndrome. Sorry, this one. Robert has Down syndrome, and so does Phoebe, and they're getting pretty serious, you could say. And Phoebe says she wants to marry Robert. So at this point, Caroline decides it's time to tell Nora that she has a daughter if she wants to be there at the wedding. So Caroline goes to meet Nora and tells her that she has a baby girl and that she didn't die. And Nora says that she hates David and all that, as you can imagine, because he was a horrible decision not telling her that she had a daughter. So then Paul and Nora go to see Phoebe, and they all meet and they're happy, and it's the end. Except it's not all happy because they all pretty much hate David Henry. Alright, thanks for tuning in. See you next time on Storytime with Sophia.
Hey guys, it's DIY Diva. Back at it again with another DIY for you guys. Today we're going to be making a Polaroid photo hanger to represent the symbols from the Memory Keeper's daughter. So without further ado, let's get started. Woo!
So the first thing we're going to do is measure out our yarn and tie it to the hanger. So I'm just going to measure out a length and just tie a knot right here and cut it at the length that I want. I went ahead and cut the pieces of black yarn to size, and you can see that I cut them in this triangle shape and tied them to the base of the hanger. So now what we're going to do is take our Polaroid pictures and position them in a way that looks good and tape them to the black string.
So here's the Polaroid photo hanger that we made today to represent the symbols from the Memory Keeper's daughter. The first symbol is wasps, and that represents independence because Nora grows more independent throughout the book. Another symbol is the piano and the music because it represents Paul as a gateway into the real world and his escape from his family, which is falling apart. Another symbol is snow, which represents purity and innocence, and it was snowing on the day that Paul was born, which represents his family that used to be so perfect. And other iconic scenes from the book are the picnic, where it became clear that Paul and Nora and David are not the people they used to be, and also Paul running on the beach, which also represents his wanting to get away from this life. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching!
Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Kirti. So today I'm doing a Cupcake Wars edition. I'll have my friends making a cupcake based on the character they get, and whoever best makes their cupcake to replicate their character's personality will win. And so we've got
I have the twins, Phoebe and Paul.
I have Nora Henry.
I have Caroline and Al.
And I have David Henry.
So we're done, and now they're all going to explain why they decorated their cupcake the way they did.
Okay, so I had the twins, and I did vanilla for Phoebe and chocolate for Paul because they're opposites and they live opposite lives. And then for Paul, I did wheat brown or cupcakes because he doesn't get enough attention at home, so he's always rebellious and he does weed. And Phoebe Phoebe is a yellow cupcake and with sprinkles on a smiley face because she's super happy and positive and optimistic.
I had Nora, and I used red icing because red represents independence and boldness, and Nora becomes more independent and bold as the novel progresses. I also used chocolate chips to represent her affairs.
I did Caroline and Al. I did Al as chocolate and vanilla icing because he's like a simple man, but like he's also rugged and he's comforting. And I did blue icing for Caroline because, well, first of all, she has blue eyes and she enjoys comfort, and she's married to Al, and she's a good mother, and she's compassionate.
And I did David Henry, and I used vanilla cupcake and light pink icing because they are soft colors and they represent his guilt, and that contrasts his harsh exterior, which is why I did the chocolate chips, because he's trying to hide the mistake he made.
Okay, so I think everyone did a good job. Sophia and Ria get the best cupcake, and then Divya gets the best connection. So yeah, good job, guys.
So thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back to Repulsive Refreshments with Ria. Over here we have Meg and Divya on team 1 and Sophia and Kirti on team 2. So basically how this game works is I'm going to ask each team a question. If they get it right, the opposite team has to eat the nasty food. If they get it wrong, then they have to eat the food. Alright, cool? Cool, let's go. First question for Meg and Divya. What is the point of view in The Memory Keeper's Daughter?
The point of view is third person omniscient.
Correct! Now, team 2 must eat the nasty food.
Roll the dice.
Here, y'all can roll.
I call it. 6.
6.
Oh, the
Jalapenos.
jalapenos.
Go ahead.
It's like one of those mukbang things.
How's it going? Not too great.
Can't say I've ever had
All right.
jalapeno before.
Okay. Question 2 for Kirti and Sophia. Explain the diction of the novel.
It's really not hard to understand. It's mainly dialogue and easy words. It's mostly neutral.
Yeah.
Correct. Good job. Now they're gonna have to eat the food.
Ooh, Brussels sprouts.
Go for it.
No, that's a 3. That's hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
Yes.
All right. Let's
You were
go.
wrong, Kirti.
I can still feel the jalapenos.
I know, it's like burning my
Oh yeah. Question 3 from Meg and Divya.
Wait, she's still dying.
Meg, you good? Alright, question 3.
Okay.
What is the syntax of the story? How does that look?
It's like short and simple, short sentences.
Okay. Exactly.
It's like
Sit down.
short,
I'm back.
simple sentences when they're talking about like Phoebe's naiveness.
Uh-huh.
And they use compound complex sentences when describing their complex lives.
Correct. They use complex and compound sentences when describing Paul, Nora, and David to kind of demonstrate their complex and like misunderstanding lives. Anyways, they gotta eat the food, so go ahead, roll. 2, mustard. Go ahead.
That's literally nothing.
for Sophia and Kirti. Explain the imagery in The Memory Keeper's Daughter.
It's rich throughout and it conveys underlying emotions of the characters, especially Nora. It like highlights the stark differences between the two families.
Correct. Roll the dice. 4. Hot sauce.
No,
Salsa. Megan, Divya, enjoy the salsa.
I don't think I will.
It's salsa, it's not that bad.
I want to throw up.
Oh god. That's fine.
Alright.
Your face doesn't
Divya's
look
into
fine.
it.
Okay.
Alright, number 5. Where did you go? No, 5.
Yeah.
What do the details help to convey in the story?
The details help connect you to Paul and Phoebe's emotions throughout the story. So Paul's like misery and Phoebe's like happiness and triumphs of like getting to school and such. And it also connects you with Nora's affairs and her loneliness.
Yep. Well said. Go ahead and roll a die.
Wait,
6.
Oh, videos.
Yeah.
Should we roll it again?
No.
I'd rather eat that than that.
Now the other side of my mouth will be burning.
It's not as bad this time.
Still, it's
Alright, we're down to our last question
Thank
for
God.
Kirti and Sophia. How do the tones in the story differ between the families?
They're very different. Like, there's 2 different tones, and the first one with like Nora and David and Paul's family, it's very sad and like distant and just kind of mysterious.
And then Phoebe and Caroline are very upbeat, optimistic, positive, and focus on like Phoebe's accomplishments. And it's like a major difference again between the families.
Excellent. Roll the die. 4.
Here you
No,
go.
it's
No,
not.
that's
It's
fine.
all again. We weren't
They're
eating
peppers.
salsa.
It's alright.
Eat
Go
them.
ahead.
That was 5.
5.
No, it's not 4.
4.
Just eat
It's
it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Eat it. Come on, you're holding the time crunch. Let's go. Just eat it.
It's like liver.
Just eat
Eat it.
They're peppers. They're
Can't do it again.
Meg, I'm gonna-
peppers. Just put it in your mouth.
put it in your mouth.
Are they spicy?
No,
No.
they're like bell peppers.
These are not bell peppers.
Yeah, they're like the sun dried whatever.
It looks like liver.
Ew. See, I know.
Alright, y'all. Thanks for joining me with
Everyone's invited.
repulsive refreshments with Rita. Bye.
Hello and welcome back to
Mad Minute Meg.
Today we'll be discussing the themes in The Memory Keeper's Daughter. On one team we have Sophia and Kirti, and on the other we have Ria and Divya. Okay, that's it.
Okay, let's get on with 3. You go that way. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!
500 points. Name one theme developed throughout the novel and give an example of when it was revealed.
The unintentional consequences of secrets.
And it's revealed when David gives away Phoebe and it like tears apart his and Nora's marriage.
That is correct. Question 2 for 300 points. Name another consequence of David's secret.
So like it affects Nora and consequently like she has a bunch of affairs and it just like ruins the marriage.
It just tears apart their family.
That is correct. Question 3. What is Kim Edwards' purpose in choosing to develop the theme of the unintentional consequences of secrets for 700 points?
It like warns it. Every event connects to this theme, and the reader is warned about the unintentional consequence of secrets.
That's correct. Question 4 for 600 points. Name another theme developed and include at least 3 examples.
The struggles of raising kids, and like one is when Paul breaks his arm and like Nora has to leave her party to go take him to the hospital.
Another one is when he rebels and he runs away and he ends up in prison.
Another one is when he rebels again and like starts doing weed and then comes home high and like wrecks David's office.
That's correct. Question number 5. How does Caroline feel these same emotions with Phoebe?
Okay, so she feels the same emotions with Phoebe because Phoebe wants to marry her boyfriend, but she doesn't want to let Phoebe go because Phoebe can't really live on her own because she's disabled, and she sees Phoebe struggling because she doesn't get to get a normal school
Education.
That's correct. Question 6. Which of the following are not themes present in the Memory Keeper's Daughter? A. Learning to accept change. B. The need for the acceptance of the disabled. Or C. The fight between humanity versus nature.
C.
Huh?
We slapped
it
first. But we slapped
You
first.
slapped before the question was asked.
But Rhea
So
still
Keeper's Daughter. A. Learning to accept.
slapped
DQ.
first. It's fine. Whatever, we'll give it to
DQ.
you.
Keep going.
That is correct. Question number 7. It could be said that another theme developed is the loneliness of a disintegrating marriage. Name 2 examples from the novel of this theme as it is developed. Yes.
So, so one example is when they're at the picnic and Nora wants to have another kid and David thinks that it's not a good idea because obviously he's guilty because of Phoebe. And
Yeah.
another example is when they
Oh, his job prohibits him from having enough time for his family.
and also all of Nora's affairs.
Yeah.
That's somewhat correct. That's all we have time for today. This has been Mad Minute Meg.
Wait,
Okay.
Bye.
who won?
I don't know. We'll do another clip.
Alright, cool. Alright, cool.
We'll do another clip.
Say thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. See you guys next week.
Make sure to like
Subscribe.
And comment down below.
Turn on post notifications.
and come back next week for another video.
Bye!
Bye.